in. Big up yourselves each and every time. Big up to all the mods for coming through. And guys, as I said, make sure we are smashing that like button and make sure you are subbing to the channel if you're new in here. And as I said, guys, let's try and hit a minimum. We're going to try and hit a minimum of 30 likes today. So mods, make sure you are encouraging people to smash that like button and to subscribe as you always do. And big up yourselves for coming through each and every time. So, guys, we got a few things to get into, and listen, transfer news is starting to heat up now. You're seeing some crazy news that is happening. I think a lot of the big teams now are starting to make serious moves now, and you know what? It's getting exciting, man. So I think this week, I think we could see a lot of movement happening. So, yeah, it's one to watch, man. One to watch. But listen, Alejandro Garnacho, and you know what it is, yeah? You know what it is? I think I've spoken this before as well. And guys, as always, I will definitely get back to your comments after. So if you keep your comments and your questions coming in, I will definitely get back, obviously, once I've finished discussing what I need to. So guys, you know what? Garnacho, for me, I'm actually laughing. You have to laugh, because, if you've been aware of this player, ever since he broke onto the scene, these comments that has come out recently, I think it was yesterday it come out. Why are we surprised? Why are we surprised he's coming out with things like this? And again, I don't blame Garnacho. I blame the people. I blame his fans, Man United fans, that put this guy on a pedestal to make him think that he has the audacity to come out with things like this, So again, I don't necessarily blame him too much because he's shit. Like, he's never been a good player. But this fan base, have been trying to fight his corner for as long as as soon as he came onto the scene, and I believe he got the goal against Fulham. You had people clamoring for him to get the number 7 shirt. You had people clamoring that he's gonna go end up at Real Madrid. Like, all this nonsense, yeah, that, again, if anyone believed that, then more fool you. And now he's coming out with comments like the one that came out yesterday. It's either Chelsea or he stays for 6 to 12 months and does nothing. I mean, the audacity of the player to think that he can come out with comments like that when, let's be honest with you, the ability is nowhere near the attitude. Again, why are we surprised? He's been put on this pedestal by a lot of these fans. And again, it's a slap in the face, as I said in the title, to a lot of the Man United fans that backed him. And how stupid that they must be thinking now. And this is why, it's important for me to have my own channel and just vent and just have my own opinions, because I've never rated this player, and a lot of fans rated Garnacho highly. And let's face it, a lot of these fans now have got egg on their face because, they've been too busy trying to put this guy, in starting lineups, making him out that he's the future. And bearing in mind, guys, bearing in mind, the amount of players that I've seen come through United's academy, that haven't even been regulars because the level was high. And we've got to deal with this guy now. Well, I say now because he's gonna be out of the club, definitely. But, fans were trying to convince us that this guy is the next coming of Cristiano Ronaldo, And again, the comments, I'm not surprised, but listen, it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing to think that this player feels he has the right to come out with that. And I want to hear from Garnacho fans. If you're in the chat and you rate Garnacho, let me know why you think Alejandro Garnacho should be, why he was regarded highly, And again, I'll keep saying this, guys. The reason that these fans were trying to push through Garnacho is because they were desperate to have Garnacho ahead of Marcus Rashford. And it's nothing to do with Garnacho's ability. It's to do with this. And I don't care if anyone has a problem with me saying that. I've been onto this for time, and this doesn't start from Marcus Rashford. This started from Anthony Martial. It started from Paul Pogba, even Fred. You know, the list is endless. I've been saying this before I had a channel. The fact that now Garnacho is coming out with these comments and disrespecting the Man United fans, his fans. Why are we surprised? Because Garnacho's been given that pedestal. And a lot of these fans were trying to push him through to be ahead of Marcus Rashford. You know? And I keep saying Marcus Rashford should have been gone a couple of years ago. But the fact that these fans were trying to put him in teams ahead, Garnacho in teams ahead of Rashford, even though Rashford wasn't that great, just shows you that there was a hidden agenda amongst a lot of these fans. And this is the problem. You know? You can even go through the Man United team. These fans were trying to hound out Fred, but now we've got to deal with Ugarte. And what's the common denominator? I'll let you guys work it out for yourself, you know? Because let's say this, not Garnacho, Ugarte is nowhere near the level of Fred. Fred's a better goal threat, and Fred's just a better player on the ball. But these fans were clamoring for Ugarte, and Ugarte is not better than Fred. But Fred was forced out, but Ugarte stays. Martial was forced out, and again, putting the injuries to the side, Martial was forced out to get Højlund get more game time. And look how poor Højlund is. You know, there's always common denominators within all this. And as I said, you know, I've been aware of this for time. So the fact that Garnacho is coming out with these comments, I'm actually laughing, you know, because anyone that knows me anyone that knows me and knows that I've been speaking about Garnacho, his attitude, how much his attitude stinks, and his ability doesn't match the attitude. As I said, it's a slap in the face to a lot of these Man United fans, you know, because they must be looking at it now thinking, why did we ever invest our stocks in Alejandro Garnacho, you know? And again, we have to kind of question Chelsea, you know. And again, for Chelsea, I believe it's more of a business transaction for Chelsea, because I don't believe Chelsea actually see this guy as someone that is going to be a regular player in their first team. I don't see it. I think Chelsea are getting him in, as I said yesterday, as someone that they can flip in the future. Because for some reason, this guy's got a commercial appeal. Don't know how, but he's got a commercial appeal amongst a lot of these fans. Because if a lot of these fans are actually being serious, they're not rating Garnacho compared to the kind of hype that he's getting. Like, it's impossible. So, again, I think Chelsea, for me, because I am saying, why Chelsea going for a player that is displaying that kind of attitude? But again, it's looking like that they definitely want to push through the transfer with Garnacho. And I have to be honest, I'm happy with this, because get him at the club, you know, get him and his brother as far away from the club as possible, and we can start moving in the direction that this club deserves to be in. And that's what it is, guys, you know. So am I surprised Garnacho is displaying this attitude and showing a lack of respect to a lot of Man United fans? No, I'm not. And as I said, I'm actually laughing because I knew this was coming. And as I said, there's people like myself, you know, big up to Rants and Bants as well. He's been talking about Garnacho from day, you know. Flawless, big up to Flawless as well from Sarcasm City. He's been talking about Rashford from day. And I'm not Rashford, sorry, Garnacho from day. And look what's happening now. It's all coming to fruition. You know, a lot of these fans now must be sitting there thinking he's embarrassed us. So it is what it is, man. It is what it is. But get this guy out. 30 mil, if it's less than that, who cares? Just get him out of the club, man. Because a player of that ability, you know, which is a low-level ability, and the attitude, yeah, get rid. So, but guys, as I said, let me know your question. Let me know your comments. You know, if you agree with me or if you don't, and I will get back to you guys. I'm gonna go through some of the comments. Big up to Lumi Rain each and every time. Lumi says, Chelsea have been improving their recruitment lately. This, however, puts their window from a 6 to a 4. I agree, because where Garnacho is going to play on the left-hand side, he's not better than Bino Gittins. I mean, is he even better than Tyreek George? That's a serious question. I mean, Tyreek George hasn't got nowhere near the appearances that Garnacho has had. But is Garnacho better than Tyreek George? I mean, I don't think he is, you know. And Tyreek George, for me, isn't even that level. So the fact that Chelsea want him, it's only because they're trying to flip him in the future. It has to be. And I agree with Lumi. I think the window goes from a 6 to a 4, definitely, because I just don't see why they're going for him. You know, and it can only mean that it's because they see him as someone that has a lot of hype around him, and they want to try and cash in on him in the future. Because, as I said, man, to have him in their team when he shouldn't even be in the Man United team, and Chelsea are in a better place than Man United as it stands, again, it's confusing. But that's their problem. Big up Lumi says, Guehi rumours are heating up. Yeah, listen, Guehi's got, a year left on his contract. Palace are going to try and move him on this summer. And I believe he goes back to Chelsea. The only problem I say is that, I know because Fofana's back now, and Fofana's obviously right-footed. Guehi can play as a left-sided defender. But I think the way Chelsea want to build up their defence, they like left-footed centre-backs, which is why they've got Yoro Hato, who can obviously cover at left-back as well as centre-back. Badashile's there. Obviously, Colwell's out injured. Fofana, is he going to stay fit? They've got Tosin Adarabioyo. They've got Trevor Chalobah as well. So the thing with Guehi, they can get Guehi for relatively cheap as well in comparison to what he was being quoted. But the only problem is he's right-footed, as I said. So are they going to bring him in and have two right-footed centre-backs? Because you'd think that if Guehi comes in, Guehi's coming to start. And let's not forget as well, Guehi used to be at Chelsea as a youngster. So, yeah, we have to think, is Guehi going to come in as a right-footed centre-back and they're going to play two right-footed centre-backs? Who knows, man? But I think Liverpool... I think if Guehi goes to Liverpool, it's a wrong move, because Van Dijk and Konate are the preferred choice. Again, if they go free at the back, Liverpool, then he can play as a left-sided centre-back. But again, you'd probably much prefer having a left-footed one there. Newcastle just signed Malik Thior, so they won't go for Guehi. But you know what? I wouldn't even mind him at Man United, I'll be honest. I know people won't be thinking this, but if you could get... because I'm looking at the fact that Lindelof has gone, obviously Johnny Evans as well. You know, could you get Guehi on a cheap? You know, because Guehi can start for Man United. You know, and if you've got the likes of De Ligt, Yoro, Guehi, Heaven, Mazraoui can play there as well. It's adding Harry Maguire, obviously, back up. Same with Luke Shaw. If you're adding these kind of players, you know, it's only going to make the team stronger. But again, Man United haven't been linked to him. So it's going to be interesting to see where he goes. I think everything's pointing towards Liverpool at the moment. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was to end up at Chelsea, if I'm honest. Maybe Tottenham. Look at Tottenham. I know Tottenham have got Romero and they've got Van der Ven. But I think if they was to go and get a Guehi to add him to their centre-back options, because as we know, Christian Romero is a hothead and he is due a sending off this season. Injuries as well to Van der Ven and to Romero as well. If they go and get a Guehi, that's a smart signing, man. And again, Guehi's not going to cost 70 mil that Palace were looking at getting for him when he was going to be going to Newcastle. So I think that's something to watch, man. I think they can definitely get... I think those teams can definitely get Guehi at a bargain price. And Palace are willing to sell him as well. So I think that's one to watch. Tottenham have entered the race for Eze. Again, spoke about this yesterday. And I did say, you know, Eze, because Maddison's out injured, Eze's the ideal player for Tottenham to go for. Because you think of the fact that Maddison plays in the 10. Eze's a 10. But Eze can also play out from the left. They're trying to get Savinho as well. And guys, I'll tell you this now. If they manage to get both Savinho and Eze, I'm saying Tottenham are in the top 4 race. I'll go as far and say, if Tottenham get Savinho and Eze, they're in the top 4 race. I'm going to say that now. Because they've got a new manager who's one of the best managers in the league, I believe, in Thomas Frank. You know, they've got Kudus. You know, Kudus, for me, is one of the best wide players in the league. Definitely. And then you've got João Paulinho, who's a very, very good midfielder. And he's someone that they need in that midfield, you know, in terms of his leadership, his experience. And the most important one, he's very defensive. And then if they go and get Eze and they go and get Savinho, imagine a front 4 of, you know, and this is not even including Kulusevski as well. Imagine a front 4 of Kudus, Eze, Savinho, Solanke. And then you've got Kulusevski if he gets fit to come into that. Then you've got the backup options of Brennan Johnson, Mattis Tell as well. Listen, they're going to cause problems, man. I'm telling you. So if they manage to get those two over the line, I'm going to say they're in the top 4 race. I'm gonna say that because the back 5 that they've got, as I said, Thomas Frank's going to make them more solid at the back. But then they've got players in the attacking areas that will cause problems. So yeah, I'm going to say they're going to be a threat, man, if they can manage to get Eze and Savinho. I think the Savinho one is more likely to get over the line. The Eze one, if they really want Eze, then I believe they get something done. So it's one to watch. But big up Lumi for your comments. Big up to Jay. Jay says, what do you think about the fatal 4-way match between Seth Rollins, LA Knight, Jey Uso and CM Punk? That's mad. Do you know what? I haven't watched Raw yet, so I'm gonna make sure I check that out. But yeah, I think Seth Rollins wins that. I think one way or another, Seth Rollins is gonna win that. I can see there being a battle between Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns for the title. So I think Seth Rollins retains his title, but there's a match between him and Roman Reigns on the horizon, I believe again. You know, 2 former Shield members, and I think, yeah, that'd be one to watch. But big up, Jay. Big up to the Royalty Master as well. Big up to Wayne Griffins. Big up to Mr. Silky Kev says, love your channel, mate. You say it how it is. Yeah, man, big up yourself for your comment. But guys, listen, my channel is a no holds barred, you know. You're free to come here and give your comments as long as it's respectful, you know, and I'm not going to pull any punches because, as I said, I've got a background in football from playing, from watching, from coaching, and I just say things how it is. You know, I'm not here to pander to anyone. You know, my opinion's my opinion, and I've had a lot of my opinions from before I had a channel. So if it's for you guys, then make sure you guys keep tuning in and keep your support coming in. And as I said, make sure you interact with the mods as well in the live chat, man. So yeah, as I said, they will tell you that this channel is all about having your own opinion. You know, again, you're not here to agree with what I've got to say, but if you have a difference to what I say, again, we can debate it out. But it's all about having your own mind, you know, and not being influenced by the media or by certain pundits on certain players. And as I said, what I've mentioned earlier about Garnacho, you know, I stick by what I'm saying because I've been saying this for years with him, with the likes of Bruno Fernandes as well. So yeah, my opinion's my opinion, but big up yourself anyway, Mr. Silky Kev. Buckwheat says Garnacho will be on a slipping slope downhill from here. Watch this space. But yeah, but Buckwheat, what I would tell you, Garnacho isn't good anyway. Like, he isn't good. Again, I keep referencing this, yeah. I'm from the era of when I've seen the likes of Giuseppe Rossi, who was bought from Parma, was in Man United's under-23s. I've seen Lee Martin from the reserves as well. I've seen Chris Eagles, Sylvani Banks-Blake, Angel Gomez, Mason Greenwood, Paul Pogba, Ravel Morrison. And again, there's probably guys that I've even forgotten about, yeah? Or even Federico Makeda, yeah? All these guys have come through United's academy, yeah? And some of them didn't make it into United's first team on a regular basis because the level was so high. Garnacho's not better than any one of them. And I would argue anyone to tell me that he is. Because he's not better than any one of them. So, is he going to be on a slipping slope? Listen, he's not on those. He's never going to be a top player because he doesn't possess the fundamentals that you need to be a top player. A lot of fans like him because he's seen as a tryhard. And a lot of fans relate to players like that, which is why I reference the likes of Jude Bellingham, Bruno Fernandes. These guys are passion merchant tryhards, you know. And again, the majority of the fans that watch that probably watch my channel or just watch other channels are working class, you know. And working class fans relate to players that work hard, and these players fit the category, you know. And with someone like Garnacho, he's perceived to be a tryhard. But when you look at his quality, there is no quality. So, as I said, I've been aware of someone like him for years. And the reason that these fans were trying to push through Garnacho is nothing short because they look at him as someone that, you know, they're trying to force out Marcus Rashford. That's what it is. That's all it came from, you know. And I'm not a massive fan of Rashford. I think Rashford's a good player, but the level that Rashford's been hyped up to be he was never that. But there's no way Garnacho's better than Rashford. He's not. But these fans were trying to push that. So now he's embarrassing them. Look what's happened, you know. And again, if he does leave Manchester United, Garnacho, and I can't wait till the day he does, I have no doubt in my mind that this player is not going to be anything special. He's not, because he doesn't possess the qualities of a top player. It's just work. It's just a try hard basically. And as I said, I've seen players come through United's academy that haven't been regulars in the first team because the level was so high. They've been nowhere. Garnacho is nowhere near them, you know. And again, if you're from that era of the Giuseppe Rossi, you will know what a player Rossi was. Rossi was ridiculous, you know. He was so good, Rossi, that injuries killed his career, you know. I wouldn't even say it was form. It was injuries and it was the competition, you know, because Rossi had the likes of Rooney there. He had Louis Saha, Van Nistelrooy. Like, him getting game time was impossible. But look at the level that he was at. Garnacho's nowhere near that. So when people were hyping up Garnacho, yeah, I'm not here. I'm not here for that. So yeah, it is what it is. Big up to Louis Ryan, Liverpool fan. Sorry, big up, man, for coming through. You should have come to the stream yesterday, man. We was pressuring Liverpool fan Jonas, who come on my channel yesterday. Listen, I think Liverpool was brought back down to reality for me yesterday. I mean, on Sunday in the Community Shield. So I think Liverpool got a lot of work to do, man, because that final, that Community Shield wasn't convincing, if I'm honest. But they've had a good window, and again, if they get Isak over the line, you know, that's going to help them trying to retain the title. But as I keep saying, Man City for me, they've got they're not going to go quietly in this window. They're not. They're not. Guys, come on. There's 71 of you watching live. Big up yourselves. Make sure we smash the like button, guys, if you're enjoying the content so far. And again, make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in here as well. So, guys, when you smash that like button, it's just one press of the button. It helps the channel be seen by more people. So, again, if you enjoy the content, make sure you smash that like button. Big up yourselves. Red 5 says, Manchester United are now a little club. What do you expect? You know what? I'm going to change it for you, Red 5. The fact that you're saying United are a little club, it means my club are on their way back. Because it means to me that you guys are now scared, you know. Because when Ten Hag was in charge, you know, even though I don't rate Amorim, you know, I think it's a case where, you know, there was actually fan bases that were feeling sorry for United. The fact that you're saying Man United are now a little club, even though I know you know they're not, it means that my club are doing the right things, you know. And get me Carlos Baleba over the line, and we're gonna be looking quite serious, you know. Again, I don't rate this manager, and this manager for me will be on his way because I don't think he's gonna be good enough for the long term. But the fact that you're saying we're a little club, it means we're doing something right. So big up yourself, man. So Red 5 says his team is West Ham and Man United is now 6 points and someone to finish above. Yeah, listen, man. Boy, you need to worry about holding on to Jared Bowen, man, and Lucas Paqueta, because let's be honest, man, they're two players that are they're better than West Ham. Let's be honest. So if they can stay through if they can stay at West Ham through the end of the window, then well done to West Ham. But let's be honest, man, they're two players that really should be moving on if they want to better their careers, man. But we'll see, man. We'll see. But big up yourself for coming through. Wayne Griffin says, how long do you think it will take for your Man United to be in a title race? Bro, listen, I don't think it's gonna be long. I think the manager for me is not gonna be the one to take us to a title race. But all I can look at is the signings that United have made. Because when you're making signings of Mbeumo, Cunha, who are two of the best wide forwards in the league in terms of goal scoring, because they are, and when you're getting them two in, again, Sesko, I wasn't a massive fan of the signing, but if that means Rasmus goes out the door, it's an even better signing for me, you know, because Sesko's better than Rasmus Højlund. But I look at Sesko and can he contribute to this team? I believe he can. So if you're getting Sesko in, you're getting Cunha in, you're getting Embuemo, and if you get Baleba over the line, listen, it won't be long before this team is starting to make serious moves, because for me, it won't be under this manager. But I look at Man United in a 4-3-3, yeah? And I keep saying this. Man United in a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, just look at the players that you could that could be playing. In a 4-3-3, you could have, again, I'm going to put Onana in goal because there's no keeper I think is going to come in. I know Donnarumma's been mentioned, but we have to wait and see on that one. But if you look at Onana in goal, you look at a back four of Mazraoui right back, De Ligt and Euro centre back, and then you've got Patrick Dorgu left back. Not to mention you've got the likes of Aiden Heaven, you know, backup Harry Maguire. You know, I don't want Luke Shaw there, but he's a backup. You know, then you look at Dalot can back up Mazraoui at right back. Then you look at, you know, the three in midfield. You could play Casemiro slightly deeper. You know, you could play Baleba and Kobbie Mainoo ahead of that. Left-footed Baleba, Kobbie Mainoo, you know, in his favourite position as one of the three midfielders. Then you look at the likes of a front three of Embuemo, Cunha, Xerxes, Ahmad Cunha, Xerxes, Ahmad Cunha, Sesko. You know, Embuemo, Cunha, Sesko. You know, I'd put Jadon Sancho back into the squad. I know it's an unpopular opinion, but Jadon Sancho with his quality, you know, amongst the players that's around him now, you know, if something can be done, I'll definitely bring him back into it. So, again, Man United's squad in a 4-3-3 or even a 4-2-3-1, you can play Ahmad in the 10. You know, you can have Bruno as backup to that as well, because regardless of what people think, Bruno Fernandes, for me, doesn't start if Man United want to be serious again. He doesn't. But Man United have got players in a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 that could make them absolutely dangerous. But this manager's not going to do that. So it's pointless, you know, clamouring for a change of system. We have to just hope that this manager does the business in the first 5 games of the season. If he doesn't, he'll be out on his arse. And then a manager that will come in will hopefully take this team, you know, back to where they should be and in a different formation as well. So, again, the best thing is that United are making some good signings, and that's all that can be hoped for, really. So yeah, to answer your question, Wayne, yeah, I know it's a bit of a long one, but I'm going to say with a different manager and the recruitment that they've been doing, I'm going to say 2 years, 3 years. I'll say 3 years maximum, but I expect it in 2 years. You know, and I think that's not impossible to say. Big up to Master. Master says, still though, Man United won a treble before Real Madrid and before Arsenal and before Liverpool. So, yeah. Big up to Barbara Joseph each and every time as well. Guys, come on. There's 73 of you in there watching live and only 15 likes. Come on. That's poor, guys. Let's at least try and hit 30 likes. If you're liking the channel, you know, and you enjoy what I'm talking about, again, it just takes one smash of the button, guys. Help the channel to grow. And again, make sure you sub to the channel, man, as well. Big up to Exedra. Big up, bro, each and every time. Gav, it's insane. I know people that rate Garnacho over Savio. Bro, if they rate Garnacho over Savio, it's more than likely that these guys are not well. Like, let's just call it what it is. These guys are either having a bad day or they're mentally ill, man. Because there's no one that's going to tell me Garnacho's better than Savinho. He's not. He's not. So there's obviously issues somewhere along the line, because there's no way that Garnacho is on the same stratosphere as Savinho. I know Savinho, in people's eyes, hasn't been pulling up any trees at Man City, but the quality of the player is there for all to see, man. So I'm not going to have no one tell me Garnacho's better than Savinho. No way. No way. Yeah, big up to LJ, man. Big up for coming back through, LJ. Big up to Broderick as well. Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team. Big up Darmike MC says, where do you think Xavi Simons is going to go? So I heard something today that, well, yesterday, should I say, that City are looking at Xavi Simons, which I don't believe they are. We all know who City want, man. And I've been saying this since the start of the summer. It's Rodrigo. If they, I say right now, at this moment in time, I would say Liverpool are the slight favourites in terms of the league title. If City go and get Rodrigo, and I keep saying this, they're the favourites because I can tell City are going to do something this season, and I think Rodrigo helps them do that. You know, and I think if they get Rodrigo, they're a threat for the Champions League and the league. So for me, just watch the Rodrigo one because they've got a space there. They've got, and the funny thing is, guys, the number 10 shirt is now available. So the number 10 shirt is vacant for Rodrigo because Rodrigo is a left winger. People that watch Real Madrid might think he's a right winger. He's a left winger. He comes in straight into that spot on the left side because he's better than Doku. And number 10's been left vacant now by Jack Grealish's move to Everton on loan. So it's all they've got to do is just because the wages won't be a problem. It's just agree a fee with Real Madrid, and I think they're gonna press home that urge to go and get him, man. They have to, they have to. Big up to Stephen Moore says, I don't mind him coming to Chelsea as long as he leaves his attitude problems at Old Trafford. Talking about Garnacho. Yeah, listen. I think Garnacho's attitude is never ever gonna leave him because he actually thinks he's a top player, and that's because the Man United fans and the club have made him feel like that. Because him coming through the academy, even though he was never good enough to be a first team player for Man United anyway, but he's been earmarked to be a top player. And obviously the goal that he scored against Everton, you know, the Puskas Award goal. Listen, great goal, but let's be honest with you, that's a freak of nature goal that he's never ever going to score again, you know. But the fact that that happened and the fact that he's been given, you know, the accolades that he has done at Man United is why he thinks he's this player. So his attitude's always going to be there for me. But I'm just surprised that Chelsea are actually looking at a player like that because for me, he's nowhere near level. So, yeah, but that's Chelsea's problem, man. Just come and take him off our hands, and I'll be happy, man. So, yeah, man, it is what it is. So, Master says, evil Saka, left wing, tired Saka, right wing, and striker Gyökeres. That's a W lineup. I disagree, man. I disagree. So you're saying what? Madueke, Martinelli, and Gyökeres. That's a team there that I would say is that even a mid-table front line of Madueke, Martinelli, and Gyökeres. It's concerning, man. Posse Max says, how about Osterman? Yeah, Osterman's at Galatasaray. He's at Galatasaray. Nah, listen, etc., bro. I have to disagree, man. I think people are sleeping on Matthias de Ligt. Matthias de Ligt, you can't put Harry Maguire and de Ligt in the same conversation, man, because de Ligt is different, man. De Ligt isn't lightning quick, but he's got a very good change of pace. And what you have to realize about de Ligt is very smart. You know, he gets himself into positions where he doesn't have to use his pace as often because he's very intelligent. So to say that Maguire and de Ligt don't have the pace for us, listen, Maguire, yes, but you can't be putting de Ligt and Maguire in the same sentence because de Ligt is Man United's best defender. He is by far. You know, Lenny Yoro for me is a generational defender. But de Ligt is what holds that defense together. So, yeah, the pace isn't everything as well. You know, if you're smart, look at John Terry for argument's sake. You know, John Terry had no pace whatsoever, but John Terry very rarely got exposed for his pace because he was intelligent enough to know that, you know, if he drops off and gives himself a couple of yards, you know, sometimes your pace doesn't need to be used because if you're in the right position, that's what matters. You know, so. Yeah, but de Ligt's a top defender, man. De Ligt's one of the best defenders in the league. He is. You know, don't look at Man United as being poor and couple that with de Ligt because when de Ligt plays, United are a much better team. And as soon as Hopefully he's not injured for this Arsenal game. I guarantee you, if the Lit is fit for Arsenal, United don't lose. It's as simple as that. If the Lit doesn't play, I worry for United. Put it that way. That's how crucial he is. So Arsenal and Pakistan cricket team says Malik Tior is quite underrated. He also plays brilliant through balls. Yeah, he's a good defender, man. Belgian international as well. I was surprised that AC Milan let him go, but it's a smart signing by Newcastle. And I'm not sure if he's going to be a starter when he goes there straight away, because I think they got Fabian Schär and Botman, and obviously Dan Burn plays centre-back as well. But he's a very good option, and obviously they were looking at Guehi, but they've managed to get Malik Tior. Again, Tior's, he's got the physicality, he's got the pace as well. So he's a very smart signing, and he's young. So yeah, that'd be one to keep an eye on. So Wayne Griffin says, what are your thoughts on Jordan Henderson to Bournemouth? Has he gone to Bournemouth? I'm not even sure. I didn't even see that one. If he's gone to Bournemouth, yeah, I mean, obviously Henderson's got the experience, So yeah, listen, it's probably more of a know-how kind of thing that they're looking at. Me personally, is he going to go there and start? Is he even there? I didn't even hear that he went to Bournemouth, but he'll probably be coming on. If they're winning games and they want a sharp shop, this is when he might be beneficial for Bournemouth. But as I said, man, I think it's more of an experienced one. That's why he's been brought in. Leadership as well. Big up to Chris and Mark. Just looking through some of the comments. Guys, come on. We've got 59 of you watching, 21 likes. Let's smash the like button, guys. Come on. Minimum target of 30 likes today. Big up yourselves. Yeah, big up to Chris and Mark, man. Listen, my views will always be my views, and again, if you enjoy it, man, make sure you keep supporting. Big up to T Mantel says, how many number 10 does United have? So if we're looking at, again, this might go over some people's heads, because if we're looking at true number 10s, yeah, the true number 10s in this Man United team are Amad Diallo and Matthias Cunha. And you could possibly say Kobbie Mainoo, but Kobbie Mainoo in a different system, for me, I'd have him as an 8. But if we're looking at true number 10s, you've got Amad and you've got Cunha. And when I'm saying true number 10s, guys, I'm saying players that are good in possession in the tight areas to make things happen. Mavericks. They're the true number 10s. So the number 10s that I'm used to watching over the years are players like Ronaldinho, Riquelme, Totti, Pablo Aimar, Alessandro Del Piero, Paolo Di Canio, Benito Carboni, Zidane. There's probably ones that I'm actually forgetting. Like these guys, Dennis Bergkamp. These guys are real number 10s. Real number 10s. Rivaldo. Guys that get you off the edge of your seat. And I look at Man United now, and again, people might think, what about Mbeumo? But Mbeumo's not a number 10. Mbeumo's a winger. But in this system, he plays as a right 10. But the real number 10s for me are, as I said, Amad and Cunha in this system, and Kobbie Mainoo as well. So if United play a 4-2-3-1, the only players I want to see in that 10 is either Amad or Cunha, or Kobbie Mainoo. People might be telling you, oh, what about Bruno? Bruno's not a number 10. He's not. He never has been. Bruno's a number 8, box-to-box number 8, but he's been played in the number 10 position because, again, the team have tried to revolve the team around him where he has a free role. And the fact that a player like Bruno Fernandes, with the ability that he has in terms of not being very high, has been given the freedom of Old Trafford, is there any surprise why United are in the state they're in or have been? You know, because people will look at his numbers, and I've give you guys so many reasons why his numbers have been high, but there's a reason why United have been recording their lowest finishes with this guy in the team. And again, it's not all on him, but he's been given the freedom of Old Trafford to go and do what he wants. So yeah, he's not a real number 10. He's not. He's a number 8. But big up Team Antaus. So Ed says he does possess the fundamentals. Talking about Garnacho. Ed, if you're still in the chat, let me know what Garnacho's fundamentals are, because it's easy to put that in the chat, but let me know what they are. Yeah, big up Exedra. And Exedra, again, bro, yeah, is Garnacho's not even better than Dan James. And Dan James is not good. Like, he's not a great footballer. But Dan James is a tryhard. And as you said, and Garnacho's not better than Dan James. At least Dan James knew his limitations. Garnacho actually thinks he's a player. And again, it's embarrassing, man. So, Brennan Johnson, another one. There's loads of players like this. There's loads of players like this. They're littered in this league with that, you know. So T Mantal says Rashford is special. Barca don't sign average players. Again, Barca haven't even signed him, so that's not true. Like, he's on loan. And again, when I'm saying special players, yeah, the reason Barca have brought Rashford in, and people need to understand this. Rashford's been brought in because of the pace that he has, you know, because Barca, as we know, have financial problems. So Rashford being brought in as someone that can cover as a left winger and as a forward as well was a no-brainer. You know, they can get him on loan, pay part of his wages as well. So the fact that they've got him there doesn't mean he's special. It's because he fits a purpose. And again, he's pacing behind in the transition, you know, is going to prove a problem for other teams. But do I see Barca signing him on the permanent? I don't. Because I think Barca will look at who's the next up-and-coming player, and they'll probably try and get them. You know, obviously it's a great move for Rashford in his career, and it's a smart move by Barcelona. But to say that Rashford is special, which is why they've signed him, that isn't true. That isn't true, man. So as I said, like, it's one of them things where they need to they needed someone in that position, and obviously Rashford was signed on loan. So yeah. So Aaron Fifield says he is better than Rashford. He will turn world class at Chelsea in 2 years. Again, Aaron, it's all well and good telling me that you think Garnacho is better than Rashford and he'll be world class. Tell me why you think he's going to be world class, because what you're saying there, anyone can just say that. You know what I mean? But back up your opinion. And again, if you put that in the chat and I haven't seen it, then I will get down to it. But again, a lot of people just say stuff without having anything to back it up. You know, I've watched football long enough to know that this guy will never be world class. He doesn't possess the fundamentals. He doesn't. He hasn't got a good touch. You know, he hasn't got good technique. You know, again, his goal against Everton was a freak of nature goal. You know, his game understanding's poor, and not to mention he hasn't got the physicality either in terms of the strength and the blistering pace. He hasn't. He's just someone that is just willing to make the runs, get in behind. But that's not enough to become a top player. All the top players that you see in world football, you know, ball manipulation as well, he hasn't got that. He hasn't got a lot about his game, Garnacho. He hasn't. So again, if you think he has, please let me know in the chat. Big up to Agnes as well, 14-ish as well. Yeah, listen, Savinho would be a great signing for United, but never going to happen. Again, he's at Man City as well for a start. And not to mention, you have to look at the fact that Savinho is a winger. He's actually a winger. And the closest thing to a winger in this 3-4-2-1 system is a wing-back. And you're not going to play Savinho at wing-back. So, yeah, he's a very good player, Savinho. So if Tottenham get him, man, they've got a great signing there. They've got a great signing. Big up to Mizo Momo. Big up to Sharon Goodwin as well. Big up to Rob Broughton says, who's the best club in the country right now? So who's the best team in England? I mean, to be honest with you, you're gonna have to say Liverpool, Man City. Like, it's not hard to say that because again, Liverpool are the holders, and again, Liverpool won the league last season, but they weren't really tested. Let's be honest. You know, I look at it now. Man City are gonna be a problem this season. They are. I think Pep's gonna get this team firing. You know, and they've got at least two signings, I think, up their sleeve that they're gonna get over the line, man. I don't know who it's gonna. I think one of them is gonna be Rodrigo, and they're gonna make a signing that's gonna get everyone on notice. So yeah, I think that's gonna happen, man. Big up for coming on though. So Mizo says Savinho will stay because lots of unofficial sources say that. I'll be honest with you. I can see him moving, and I'll tell you why. Because Oscar Bob, you know, is rated highly at Man City, and again, Oscar Bob was out injured, and Oscar Bob's come back now, and Pep likes Oscar Bob. So if you think of that right hand side, you know, inverted, you've got the likes of Oscar Bob, you've got Ryan Cherky who can play out there, and you've got Phil Foden who can play out there. So you've got three players that might be seen as ahead of Savinho in the pecking order. Then if you look at left wing, you know, you've got Doku there. There is a spot for Savinho, of course, out on that left wing. But the thing is, if they're looking at a Rodrigo to come in, then Savinho doesn't start automatically on that left side. So he's probably looking at his options thinking there's players that are probably ahead of him on that right wing, and there's players that are potentially, if Rodrigo comes in, that will be ahead of him. And again, this isn't to say that Savinho's not a good player, because Savinho's a very good player. You know, I love him at Man United in a different system. But he's probably looking at these things, weighing it up and thinking, you know, his future might be best served away from Man City, you know. But if he goes to Tottenham, I'm telling you now, if they get him and Eze to go with Kudus and João Paulinho and new manager and the team they've got already, they'll be back. They should be aiming for top four, no doubt. So, yeah, I rate him highly, man. I do rate Savinho highly. But is he going to stay at City? I think the fact that there's actually talks going on, you know what I mean? I think there's something in the pipeline, you know. Guys, this transfer news heating up, man. There's a lot of talk, man. Lot of talk. Yeah, listen, I'm looking forward to this, man. I'm looking forward to this transfer window now. I've seen a lot of news today. Big up to Young Bro, says, do you agree with the football is falling off? Young Bro, listen up, man. I've been talking about this for years. Football is not what it used to be, man. For a start, it's a business now, you know? And I look at the quality of players that we have to see now, and it's never been at its lowest. That's what I will tell you. Because if you look at the Ballon d'Or from years gone by, you know, any player could win the Ballon d'Or years gone by when you had the likes of Ronaldinho, R9, because the level was so high. If you look at the Ballon d'Or now, the outstanding player for me is the likes of Lamine Yamal. He's the outstanding talent. You know, then you look at the likes of Dembele, you know, Vitinha at PSG, Kvaratskhelia, Ousmane Dembele. I think I mentioned him already, actually. I'm looking at all the top teams in the world, you know. Fabian Ruiz, a top player, not Ballon d'Or worthy for me, apart with them other guys. But he's a very good player. You look at Real Madrid. I know people will say Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe, but I think they're in there because of PR. I'm not going to mention Bellingham because the fact that Bellingham's at Real Madrid is a problem in itself from the players that they've had. Eduardo Camavinga is one of the best midfielders in the world. So is Federico Valverde. You know, Arda Güler for me is, I think, is a generational talent as well. Barcelona, I mean, Pedri for me is Pedri for me is amongst the top three midfielders in the world easily, with Vitinha and Moises Caicedo. Yamal we've mentioned. Lewandowski obviously is getting on, but he's still one of the best strikers in the world. Um, Frankie de Jong's is a top midfielder. You know, needs to stay fit. So yeah, I mean, you look at there's players in teams around the world. You know, I haven't mentioned Man City as well, and Liverpool. There's players around the world that are top players. You know, but in terms of collectively, I don't think the players are nowhere near what I've seen previously. Because as I said, when you had the likes of Ronaldinho, you know, Zidane and that playing, like there was so much quality from these other teams. You know, when they were in the Ballon d'Or list, you could make an argument for them winning it because the level was so high. Now, it isn't that. But big up, man. Great question. Great question. Um, so Brian Harkins says 4-3-3 got Ten Hag sacked. But what does that mean? Like that means nothing. So because 4-3-3 got Ten Hag sacked, what are you trying to say? We shouldn't be playing 4-3-3 ever again? Like nonsense. Nonsense. And again, Ten Hag, not Ten Hag, Amorim does play a two-man midfield. He does. And this is the problem. Because when you're playing this 3-4-2-1, it's about having certain profiles that fit this system. And the midfielders that he's got to pick from, you know, again, he plays Bruno in there because he's shoehorning Bruno into the team. Ugarte is a dog in midfield and wins the ball back, but isn't press resistant and isn't good enough on the ball. Casemiro's never played as a man-for-man press in midfield, which is poor. And then you look at the likes of Kobe Manu in this system isn't a number 6 or a number 8. He has to play as a 10. So the very fact that he hasn't got profiles in this team that suit this 3-4-1-2 system is the manager's problem. You know, getting Baleba in. Baleba's a club signing, and Baleba can play in a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, and he can play in this 3-4-2-1. But with the players at this manager's disposal, these players are better suited to play in 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. They are. I can guarantee you this now. If he changed the system, you're getting better football from these players. But again, he's not going to do that. That isn't the argument. But the argument is this 3-4-2-1 is having us watch Kobe Manu playing as a 6 or an 8, where he's not comfortable in this system. It's having us watch Ahmad play as a wingback. Ahmad is no wingback. But unfortunately, because Mbuemo's there now as well, and in this system, we're having to see him play right wingback. So this is a problem in itself. But to say that Ten Hag got sacked playing 4-3-3, what does that mean? So that means because he got sacked, no other manager can play that. Nonsense. But yeah, Brian, I do agree with you there, man. Garnacho can piss off. He can, man. But again, the fact that I'm saying, do I blame Garnacho solely? I don't. I blame the fans that put him on that pedestal because he should have never been there. And now he's just taking the piss, you know. Yank says, take. Bruno is good. It's not an L take. Like you might think Bruno is good. Tell me why you think he's good. Because I'll tell you why he's not. You know what I mean? That's the difference. I like people that come out with comments, but at least tell me why you think he's good. And then we can debate the opinion. But don't just say something generic like he's good. Like, what does that mean? Like, come on. Big up to Adam F. Young says, João Pedro is our next Drogba. Listen, João Pedro's a very good player. He's not your next Drogba, though. He's a different kind of player to Drogba, for a start. You know, João Pedro's a false 9 come striker. And to be honest with you, he's going to be a very good player for Chelsea, you know, because he possesses something that, you know, their front line don't have. You know, he's good in possession. You know, he's also very tenacious, very aggressive as well. You know, he's a threat in the air. And again, man, he's someone that, you know, you can play the ball into him and he'll invariably keep the ball, man, which is key. But to say he's the next Drogba, he plays totally different to Drogba, but he's a very, very good player, man. 100%, he's a very good player. Yeah, big up to Gunners fan, man. Big up for coming through. So TGHD says, imagine they sign Vinny. You know what? Yeah, that's actually weird you come out of that, because do I believe City signed Vinicius Junior? I don't. But what you have to realize, and I think I've touched on this plenty of times as well, yeah, Vinicius Junior wants a new contract at Real Madrid, and if you look at from what I've heard from the negotiations, he's aiming high with what he wants, and I think it's a ploy. I think he's done it on purpose, because he's now seen Mbappe come through the door, yeah. And what's happened with Mbappe is that, in a sense, Mbappe's taken away the shine of Vinicius Junior. So I think what's happened is that Vinicius is thinking to himself, he wants to see how much invested Real Madrid are with him. And I think that the fact that he wants a new contract, he's testing how much Real Madrid think of him. Because if Real Madrid don't give him that new contract, that might be the angle for him to move on. But I think the fact that if he does move on, Madrid are going to ask for crazy money is the only reason why I don't see City sign him. I think Rodrigo's more viable because, I think 100 million could get Rodrigo out of there if he shows a willingness to go. But I think with Vinicius Junior, they're gonna try and drive a hard bargain to try and get him at the club. But it's one to think about, man. But good comment, because I think Vinicius Junior is unlikely, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was one. But I think it's gonna cost too much money, and again, the wages he's gonna want he's gonna want to be the highest paid player at Man City. And as we know, I think Haaland's the highest paid player at the moment on 400 grand. Vinicius Junior would need to exceed that if he was to go there. So yeah, man, it's one to think about, but we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see. Big up to Fair Game. Mazni says, any deal available for Anthony on the table? From not what I've heard, I think Anthony, I'm not sure what's happening with Anthony, because maybe he's digging his heels in. I just don't know. But I think if Anthony wasn't on the wage he was on at Man United, 200 grand a week, you could possibly say Anthony could be in contention to still be around the squad. But the fact that he's on 200 grand, he had a good loan as well. This is why the club are trying to get him out. But again, I've heard Real Betis, I've heard Atletico Madrid. I just don't know what's happening, man. I just don't know. But yeah, we're going to find out sooner or later, put it that way. We'll find out sooner or later. But yeah, nothing at the moment from what I've heard. Big up to Slim Richmond. Big up. TG says, I see Rodrigo at Man City. Yeah, I do as well. Wayne says, how big do you think Ryan Cherky will be for Man City this season? Listen, Ryan Cherky is a ridiculous talent, man. Ryan Cherky for me is the kind of player that you can see in the Ballon d'Or list, competing for the Ballon d'Or. He's got that ability. Again, competition for places in that Man City attacking line is going to be difficult. But in terms of how do I see him this season, if Man City do what's expected, and I mean compete for the title, compete for Champions League, Cherky's going to be key to that. He is. Because they've got players there that are game changers. It's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen to Phil Foden, because Phil Foden has got a massive season ahead. The World Cup's coming up. Foden was poor last season, and he's now seen Cherky come in. Oscar Bobb's returned from injury. You've got the likes of what's his name, Marmoush, who can play in the 10 on the left. Savino's obviously still there, even though he might go. Rodrigo, if he comes in. Phil Foden's not guaranteed a start. This is the problem. And for him, if he doesn't have a good season, his World Cup dream will be over, because the amount of players that England have got to pick from, Phil Foden's not an automatic shoo-in. When he first come on the scene, again, there was a lot of excitement around him, but he's not a shoo-in. Like, he's seen Cole Palmer surpass him, moving to Chelsea and surpass him. So Foden is due a big season, but that means if he's due a big season, he's going to have to keep the likes of Ryan Cherky out the team, and Oscar Bob, if Savinho's still there. So he's got it all to do, man. You know, I like Foden as a player, but he needs to have a good season. Otherwise, he could find his career going in a different direction to what's predicted, you know. Yeah, big up to TGHD, man. Big up. Guys, come on. There's 32 of you watching, 26 likes. Let's smash the like buttons, guys, if you're liking the content. And again, make sure you sub to the channel if you're new in there as well. Let's at least, guys, hit 30 likes. I want a minimum target of 30 likes. We're on 27 at the moment. Big up. Big up to Lee Kamuchenga as well. Big up to Red Lick. Is it Lighties or Lichties? Big up for coming through. Big up to Broderick. Great question. I like these ones. So, what's your United starting 11 for Arsenal? Or Asna, as he says, you know? You know what? If everyone's fit, and if we're basing it on this system, yeah? If everyone was fit, and I'm talking the likes of Xerxes and that as well, if everyone's fit, I would play Anana in goal. I'd play in the back three, Lenny Yoro, right-sided of the three. Matthias de Ligt in the middle of the three, and then Nusayr Mazraoui, left side of the three. Personally, I like left-footed centre-backs, you know, play on that side. But I think you've got to find a place for Mazraoui, because he's that consistent, you know. So that back three I'll be fine with. The wing-backs, again, I hate seeing Ahmad as a wing-back, but Ahmad has to play. So I'd play Ahmad as the right wing-back, Patrick Dorgu as a left wing-back. The two in midfield is key. And again, if I'm not basing it on Baleba being there, then the midfield two for me would be Casemiro and even though I don't rate him, I think it might have to be Ugarte and Casemiro together. I want to play Kobe Manu, but Kobe Manu in this system as a 6 or an 8 doesn't work. And again, in the 10, you've got to find space for Mbeumo and Cunha. So this is why this system is a joke, because you're leaving out certain players. This is the problem. Whereas if you play a 4-2-3-1, Kobe can play, Ahmad can play in the same team, so can Cunha and Mbeumo. But in this 3-4-2-1, it means the likes of Kobe might have to miss out, because Kobe as a 6 or an 8 he can't play in this system as a 6 or an 8. So I'd probably play Casemiro and Ugarte, a bit more defensive solidity in there as well. Then in the 10s, I would play Mbeumo as a right 10, Cunha as a left 10, and then Joshua Xerxes as the striker. And then on the bench, you've got the likes of Sesko, Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Aiden Heaven, Kobe Minu. You've got all them on the bench. That's the way that I will play, you know. Again, I wouldn't play the system, but the system that's available, that he's doing now, and if everyone's fit, that's the way I will go. How I think he's going to go, he's going to play Anana in goal. If Matthias de Ligt is not fit, he'll play Lenny Yoro, Harry Maguire, and possibly Luke Shaw as a left-sided centre-back. He'll play Dorgu. And this is the thing. I just got a feeling he's going to try and shoehorn Diogo Dalot into the team. But that's going to be at the expense of Ahmad, which can't happen. But I'm going to say he plays Ahmad, because if he shoehorns Dalot into the team and Ahmad is dropped, there's going to be backlash from the fans, I believe. So I think he's going to play Ahmad right wing back, Dorgu left wing back, Maguire if de Ligt's not fit. If de Ligt is fit, then de Ligt plays, but I think he plays de Ligt, Yoro, and possibly Luke Shaw, I think, because I don't think Mazraoui is going to be fit enough. Then he'll play Bruno as a left 10, Mbeumo as a right 10, and I think he plays Cunha through the middle. I think he starts Sesko on the bench. That's the way I think he's going to go, you know. But yeah, good question, man. Good question. But one thing's for certain, I'm expecting nothing less than a draw, you know. United cannot lose this game. TG says Leao to Man City. Yeah, listen, that's one to watch. The reason I don't think City get Leao, because Leao's profile is too similar to Jeremy Doku. You know, Pep likes his wide players to have more control, and Leao's more of a he's more on the physicality side. So I don't see him signing Leao. Rodrigo's the guy. He's the guy that they need to go and get. You know, and again, Ace Man have already come out and said if any team wants Leao, it's going to cost about 107 million or something like that to get him out of there, which City ain't going to do. So, yeah, big up, man. So Mizo Momo says, I don't want to be racist towards Man United administration, but if the current continues, the club won't prosper. Mizo, I'm not understanding that comment. I mean, if you can make it a bit more clearer, because I'm not really understanding that. But if anyone else knows, then you guys can answer that. But I don't really understand what he means by that. Guys, I'm just going through your comments. So if I miss out some of your comments, it's because I've got a lot to go through. But big up, man. Big up to Godwin Jacob. Big up for coming through. Good says, are you streaming in Twitch also? I'm not. But guys, if you guys like your music, your rap and your freestyle, check out my boy. It's at your boy Truance on Twitch. If you make sure you guys give him a follow. Say obviously if you just comment you come from GavGoesIn's channel. But yeah, give him a follow, guys, on Twitch, man. At your boy Truance. I'll put his link in the description once I've finished. But yeah, make sure you guys give him a follow, man. If you like your rap, if you like your live freestyles. So you guys can give him any word and he'll do madness with the words. So again, man, yeah, give him a follow at your boy Truance. So ES says, what do you think of Man United's goalkeeping situation? Yeah, again, I think I've touched on this before. As I said, Andre Onana has been, you know, he hasn't been great. Let's face it. You know, the fundamentals of a keeper, you know, he is struggling in that sense. But the thing with me, do I look at him as one of the biggest problems at Man United? I don't. There's other issues that United need to sort out before him. And as I said, I think someone like Rasmus Højlund, Garnacho, Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw, Mason Mount, those 5 players for me are bigger problems than Andre Onana for me, for different reasons. Luke Shaw's been here for almost a decade, and he's on 190, very injury prone. And he signals mediocrity as well. So he's a problem. Mason Mount's on 250 a week, number 7 shirt on his back, iconic shirt, and he got bought for 60 million and doesn't have a place in this team. He's a big problem. Rasmus Højlund was bought for 72 million. His return was 4 league goals, and he's crap. He's a massive problem. Garnacho already spoken about, you know, his ability doesn't match his hype, you know, and his attitude, you know. So he's a problem. Bruno Fernandes, regardless of what people say and his numbers, is a detriment to the team, as well as he has a stinking attitude as well. I've never seen a player, a captain, moan at his teammates as much as he does. He loses the ball, his hands up in the air, complaining. If he misplaces a pass, it's someone else's fault. You know, and he does this consistently. So for me, they're bigger problems than Onana. But if United could get Donnarumma through the door, which again, hopefully they can do that, but I just can't see it. Then listen, if you're getting Donnarumma, man, there's no argument. But as it stands right now, I think Onana does deserve another season in comparison to the players I've just mentioned who are still here. So, but yeah, man. Guys, big up yourselves. 31 likes, 22 of you watching now at the moment. Big up. Yeah, big up to Exedra, man. Yeah, listen, whenever you want to do another stream, bro, just let me know, man. And we're organizing it. No problem. Big up to James Adams says, if I were a Chelsea fan, I'll be worried about signing Garnacho. Yeah, I couldn't disagree, man. For many reasons. The ability is not there. The attitude is poor. You know, they're two of the main things. And most importantly, why would you be signing a player like that that doesn't automatically start in your team? Because the way Chelsea are going at the moment, they need to be signing someone, yeah, that is better than what they've got. He's not better than Bino Gittins. He's not better than Pedro Neto if he plays out there. So again, it's concerning, man. But this is their problem to solve, unfortunately. And as long as Man United get him out, I don't care what happens. If Chelsea want to sign him, they'll find out the problems that we've been having. Big up to Presidential System Enjoyer as well for coming through. Big up to Nubis Kubis as well. So I saw the viral Amarin ball where Ahmad ended up getting foul and United get a penalty pre-season. Do you think such tactic is sustainable or just one thing? Bro, there ain't no Amarin ball, man. I'm not sure where you're getting that from. I've not seen any difference from last season to this season. All I've seen is, and let's get it right as well, United have players in there that have quality. So in periods in the game, they are going to have times where, you know, they are going to put some passes together. That's obvious. They've got talented players in the team, the likes of Ahmad, Cunha, and Mbeumo, and Xerxes, and Kobe Minu. They are talented players. But from what I've seen no different to last season. Just better quality of players coming in. So again, you know, he's going to be relying on that because I don't think he's going to have any hope in terms of him trying to put this system on the players and them doing stuff because he hasn't improved any player. So a lot of it is going to be what players are going to show up on the day. That's what it's going to be. And as I keep saying, he's got 5 games, man, to show something. Because I tell you this now, if those 5 games and there's not positive results, he's going to find out very quickly, you know, that he's under pressure, you know, and rightfully so, because last season was unacceptable. So, yeah. Yeah, big up, Jay, man. Listen, guys, as I said, if you guys want to come on camera, you know, with me, and you want to have a footballing conversation, by all means, man, just let me know after the stream's ended and put a comment in, and again, we can try and hook up having a live co-stream, man. You know, and having a debate, man. That's what it's about. You know, if there's 2 or 3 of you on there and we're debating about football, let me know if you're on it. Big up to SWSCKY. So X-Lieb says he supports Borussia Dortmund. Big up. Do you think you guys will sign Jadon Sancho on loan? Yeah, big up to Sherik. Yeah, listen, I have to be honest, yeah, that Alexander Isak comments that he's not ever going to play for Newcastle again. I have to be honest, I'm actually shocked. I did not see that coming because, and it just shows you, man, the modern footballer now just doesn't give a shit because the relationship that Isak has with the Newcastle fans, I thought he would have shown them a lot more respect than that. But he's clearly angling for a move out of Newcastle. I think the problem Isak has now, you know, and I'm going to rate Newcastle if they actually do this. I think the way that he's going on, and again, I've not heard direct quotes that he's actually done this, so I'm only going off from what's been reported, you know. But the fact that Isak is saying he's not going to play for them again, and let's face it, Newcastle kind of gave him a platform in the Premier League. So they deserve more respect than what Isak's doing. I think personally, if I'm Newcastle, I just say, look, you're a massive asset to this team, but your insistence on trying to join Liverpool and showing us a lack of respect, we're going to show you who's in charge here. I think what they should do with Isak, because again, he's got the World Cup coming up, I think they should just let him rot in the reserves and teach him a lesson. Whether they do that or not, I'm not too sure. But if he's saying he's not going to play for them again, Like, that is concerning because what he should have done, again, I'm not sure what his advisors are thinking, yeah? Because, again, he's got 3 years left on his contract and he's just making it difficult now for the club to accept any bid. Because if they wanna try and show that they mean business, Newcastle, then they just let him rot. Yeah. What he should have done, Isak, was say, look, Liverpool have come in for me. I would at least like to speak to them, and if they can come in with a suitable bid, can you listen to the bid? You know, if they were adamant and say, look, we're not selling you at any price, it's one of them things where he negotiates a new contract and then next season, they negotiate a release clause for him, which I'm pretty sure Newcastle would be happy to do, because Newcastle would look at it and think, look what he done for us last season or since he's come to the club. He's not on a higher wage that of someone of his level, what he's shown, should be on. So they should have just said, look, we'll give you a new contract and we're going to put in a release clause of, let's say, 160. So that means Newcastle get their money. The player gets his new contract on more money. They're in the Champions League. He can still play regularly and obviously be fit for the World Cup. That should have been the amicable thing to do. But the way that it's been reported and the way that he's gone on about it, I don't know what his advisors are thinking, because he's burnt bridges with Newcastle. Again, I keep saying it. Even if Liverpool offer 150, I think just on principle, Newcastle should just say no, because the way that Isak's reportedly been acting, so the way it's been handled is an absolute joke, really. And I think he's made it more difficult, because if you're Newcastle and you sell him now, I think that's poor, because you're showing that the players really won. So whatever happens there, it remains to be seen, man. But it's not good. Et Liber says Guirassy deserves to be top 5 in the Ballon d'Or. No, he doesn't. Guirassy scored goals, but again, just scoring goals doesn't mean you should be in the top 5 Ballon d'Or. It doesn't mean that, and that's where the Ballon d'Or has gone wrong, because it should never be that. So yeah, man, like I'm not gonna say he should be top 5. I think he had a good season in terms of numbers, but if we're looking at quality overall, you've got Yamal, you've got Dembele, you've got Vitinha, you've got what's his name, Kvaratskhelia, Pedri. That's already 5 players already, and there's more. So yeah, big up for your comment, man. But Guirassy shouldn't be in the top 5. No way. Oh, Nicolas Sule is injured now. Again. Bloody hell. Guys, big up. We've got 33 likes, 24 of you watching. Smash the like button, guys. I'm going to go through a few more of your comments before we wrap up. But big up to each and every one of you for coming through and supporting the channel. So Jay says, Garnacho is overrated. Sancho is all right. Mount Matai, the mid, is mid. Donny van der Beek class. RK. Yeah, listen. Donny van der Beek, man. I mean, this club ruined Donny van der Beek. They ruined him. I'm not going to touch too much on that, but they ruined him. I don't even know where Donny van der Beek is now. I think last I heard he was at Girona in Spain. So, yeah, as Jay said. So, big up to Sevasli. Man United 2, Galatasaray 3. Yeah, big up, man. Mattis Tell is the wild card this season. With Son gone, him and Solanke could have a good connection. Yeah, big up to JKM. Listen, I think Mattis Tell, before he went to Bayern Munich, he was actually playing for Rennes. And obviously, I think he made his debut for Rennes, I believe, when he was like 16 or 17. And then obviously that prompted Bayern to sign him. I think it's very clear that, yeah, he hasn't put up any trees since he's gone to Tottenham, and yeah, as I said, man, I think he's He's a work in progress, but I think under Thomas Frank, you know, Thomas Frank could use him as like a Kevin Schade kind of player, because Kevin Schade was doing well for for Brentford. So I think I think believe in Thomas Frank. I think we'll see a better Mattis Tell under Thomas Frank's guidance. I believe, because Thomas Frank's a very good manager. I think he's underrated big time. You know. Big up to Daniela as well. Jay says, your boy Truant is class at rapping and freestyle, but at football, Gav clears. Yeah, big up, Jay. Jay is just remind. Obviously, the truant's name is A, not E, so it's TRUANCE. But yeah, guys, if you like your rapping, you like your freestyles, check out my boy at your boy Truant's on Twitch. Big up. I would also have to see what Kevin Schade does this season. 11 goals last year behind Visser and Mbuemo could lead to problems for opponents if Visser stays. Yeah, listen, Kevin Schade is a problem, but I think it's going to be difficult because I do think Visser gets his move. Obviously, as we know, Mbuemo's at United. So again, you know, they brought in, who have they brought in actually? Bournemouth. They're actually trying to get in, not Bournemouth, Brentford. They're trying to get in Dango Utara, you know, which is a direct replacement for Mbuemo. And I think that's a very good sign if they get him over the line. So they could be looking at Utara and Schade as the wide players. And hopefully they might think that Visser might stay. But if Visser goes, they need to go in the market and get another striker. I think they got a striker that got injured as well called, Igor Julio, I think his name might be. So, but yeah, Schade had a good season, man, with Mbuemo and Visser. But I think this season coming up, you know, it could be a bit different. But who knows? Who knows? Sebastli says, what do you think about Galatasaray? Yeah, listen, they've been a good team over the years, clearly. You know, Osman's there. I'm trying to think who else they've got. I can't remember some of their players off the top of my head. But obviously they're in the Champions League as well. So we're going to see firsthand what they can do, you know. Big up to Machar Laushi says, Baleba is really the key. Onana change is not priority. We need more legs in the pitch. Our midfield is not fluid and mobile. With Baleba, a lot of changes will come and we can't pick momentum. Big up to Machar Laushi. Great comment. I can't disagree with what you're saying, man. You know, again, I've been saying Baleba since the start of the summer, since last season. He's the key signing. And the fact that United are heavily linked to him and getting him through the door, I couldn't be any happier, man. I'm telling you. He's the one signing that I said United have to make. Because I look at left-footed central midfielders and they're key for balance. You know, Man United haven't had one since Fred. And I look at around that world football, and as I keep saying, the two players that are at the top level in terms of left-footed centre midfielders is Eduardo Camavinga and Fabian Ruiz. I think Baleba can be in that boat. That's how good I think he is. So if United get him, you're looking at a player that United could have in their midfield for the next 8 to 10 years, easily. Only 21. So yeah, I agree with you, man. So JKM says, I'm very worried about signing Garnacho. He wants to be Ronaldo with his crappy attitude and will not start over Gittins, Neto, Palmer, João Pedro and Delap. Yeah, listen. The fact that Chelsea are going for him and you've mentioned them names is criminal. So it can only be a flip. So I'm going to stick with that. You know? Right, guys, I'm going to scan through some of your comments. Big up yourselves for coming through. If I don't go into everyone's comments, then apologies. But obviously, we're going to wrap up in a bit. Just going to just scan through a lot of the ones really quickly. Let's see. Big up to Vincent Garepi and Speci. Yeah, big up. So Sevastli says Leroy Sane, Osman, Icardi, Torreira, Mertens, Davinson Sanchez, Nicola Zaniolo. Yeah, listen. Funny thing is, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of them are ex-Premier League players. Osman and Icardi, again, we know they score goals. Obviously, Dries Mertens, Dries Mertens is still there as well. Very good player. But yeah, listen, they've got some, you would say, decent, very good players there. They have. But yeah, I think Champions League this season, yeah, they might find it a bit of a struggle. Who knows? But you've got goals in the team, that's for sure, and creativity as well. So yeah. So Specky Techie says, talk about Newcastle, please. I've mentioned it already, man. You know what? I think the best thing for Newcastle for me would be the fact that Isak has come out and said he's not playing for Newcastle again. Newcastle have two options. They either let him rot in the reserves, and refuse to sell him, and that's going to affect him with the World Cup coming up, or what they do, they've been linked to Samu Omarodian of Porto and Johan Visser. If they get those two in, and again, I'm not saying that these players are Isak, but Visser has shown that he can score goals in this league. Omarodian is a physical threat as well. I think if they can get those two in and then get 150 for Isak, listen, it's not bad business, man. Not at all. It's not bad business. So I think that might be something that they might consider. But I think the fact that Isak's come out and said he's not going to play, if that is true, they've got to make a statement and just say, look, you're not going nowhere now, and that will show him. So, but we'll have to wait and see, man. We'll have to wait and see. Right, guys, I'm going to go through a couple more messages and then we're going to wrap up. So Wayne says, Man City letting go of Savinho might haunt them. The boy has serious potential and be world-class in the next 2 to 3 years. Yeah, I agree, Wayne. I agree. Great comment. I agree. I think Savinho is potentially one of the best wingers in the league. I definitely agree, And again, he'll be trying to force his way into that Brazil squad as well. I wonder if, which I think is unlikely, I wonder if City might look at a buyback. You know what I mean? But I think Tottenham won't accept that if he does go there, a buyback. So yeah, I think it might be a problem. But if they go in and bring in a Rodrigo, I think that will cushion the blow. So that's what they're probably looking at. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But guys, listen up. Big up yourselves each and every time for coming through. Again, there's 18 of you in there and there's 36 likes. Guys, if you haven't smashed the like button, okay, smashing the like button helps the channel to be seen by more people. So again, if you can just smash the like button, it's just one press of the button. It's much appreciated. And again, if you haven't subbed to the channel, make sure you do. Make sure you sub to the channel. Check out all my other content as well. And again, guys, if you guys want to come on camera and have some football talk with myself, just let me know in the comments after the stream's ended. And again, we can discuss about how we can kind of schedule that as well. But as I said, big up yourselves each and every time. Big up to Vincent for subbing and liking. Much appreciated. But yeah, guys, listen, we've got the Premier League kicking off, and it's going to be a great season, I think. I think this season might be one of the best seasons that we're going to witness, I believe, because I think the league title race, the top 4 race, top 10 race, I think it's going to be interesting, man. There's a lot of players that have moved to the top teams, and there's going to be a lot of competition for those places. And I think it's going to be a season to not be missed, Obviously, United playing first game of the season on Sunday against Arsenal. I will be doing a live watch along. So if you guys want to watch the game with me, guys, then keep an eye on the schedule. And as I said, man, make sure you guys tune in and watch the stream with me. Big up to Cass United. Yeah, big up Cass for coming through, man. Big up for coming through, man. Appreciated. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna, as I said, if you guys wanna jump on camera and have a co-stream with me, as I said, let me know in the comments afterwards, and we can hook that up definitely. But as I said, I will be back. If anything drops tonight, guys, if anything drops tonight, then I will be back live later on, most probably at 7:30. I'm not gonna promise anything because I might not be back. But if anything does drop, I'll try and be back. If not, definitely tomorrow at 11:30 again. But as I said, guys, big up yourselves each and every time for coming through. The support is much appreciated. And as I said, yeah, like if you guys as well, check out my posts. You know, I put some good posts up. You know, the most recent one was and you know what, guys, I'm gonna say this, but I think there's a certain DR Sports that might have, you know, they might have copied my my questions for what I've done. So I done the best centre back of the all 4 world class centre backs. You know, if you had to pick one and why, and to tell me what order you would do: Van Dijk, Thiago Silva, Rafael Varane, Sergio Ramos. So make sure you guys comment on that, and make sure you guys vote as well, and let me know what you think. So yeah, as I said, big up yourselves each and every time. Keep an eye on the schedule. Make sure your notifications are on as well. And I'm going to catch you guys in a bit. Take it easy.